My name is Song Zi. I've been a housewife all my life. I was happy to give up everything for my family, my youth and all. Until my husband Shin Chinian passed away. While sorting through his things, I found a photo of him and his first love, Lu Weining. In the picture, the woman with two thick braids had her head tilted onto his shoulder. They were both smiling brightly. On the back, in Shin Chinian's black ink, in a flamboyant script, it read, "My one true love in this life." Then, I was reborn. 50 years in the past. I told myself, this time, I'm going to university in Beijing. I won't waste my life on a man again. Women hold up half the sky. A woman should live for herself. The first thing I did after my rebirth was to find a way to leave my handsome and dashing husband, the leader. Even if I end up alone this lifetime, I don't want to meet him again. Comrade Song Zi, this is the admission notice from the Beijing Research Institute. Congratulations on becoming the only female university student in our night school. After the New Year's Eve, you must report to Beijing. In the next few days, make sure to settle your family affairs. Go to Beijing and contribute to the nation. Teacher Zhang's voice pulled me back to reality. Seeing the bright red admission notice she handed me, I accepted it with both hands. A wave of emotion washed over me. Thank you, Teacher Zhang. I will work hard to serve my country and my people. I'm originally from the 21st century, but I accidentally traveled back to the end of 1977 in my past life to marry Shin Chinian. I gave up my job as a radio announcer to take care of my mother-in-law. I also gave up the chance to go to university in the capital, but all my efforts only earned me Shin Chinian's distant respect. I thought he was just born without a smile, that he was cold and indifferent to everyone, including his own wife. It wasn't until I was sorting through Shin Chinian's belongings after his death that I accidentally found a photo of him and his comrade's widow, Lu Weining. On the back of the photo, it said, "The love of my life." 4 words. Only then did I realize that there had always been someone he loved but couldn't have. That's why he treated me with cold respect. For 50 years, all my lifelong devotion and love was nothing but a joke. Walking back to the Nanling compound from night school, the setting sun fell on the mottled stone path. It stretched my shadow into something lonely and long. Back home, looking at the black and white TV in the room, and the big red double happiness character still stuck on the fridge, I felt a wave of confusion. Creak. The door was pushed open. Shin Chinian walked in, standing tall. He placed a box of pastries on the table. Comrade Lu Weining made these mung bean cakes. She asked me to bring them for you. Staring at the college acceptance letter, weighed down by that box of cakes, my heart was filled with mixed emotions. In my past life, Shin Chinian told me, Lu Weining was his comrade's widow. She was widowed young, had no children, so he should help her out more. Back and forth, Lu Weining would return the favor. She'd often send over food and things for him. I never thought much of it. I just thought my husband was stern on the outside but kind inside. A man of feeling and loyalty. Thinking about my past life and them, and that intimate photo. Now, looking at this box of pastries again, I just find it so ironic. That was thoughtful of her. Shin Chinian didn't pick up on the odd tone in my voice. He then took out from his pocket a stack of ration coupons and cash, and placed them on the table. This month's allowance is for you. Once mom's leg injury is better, you can go back to work at the broadcast station. After saying that, he took off his green jacket and turned to go shower in the bathroom. I sat in silence, listening to the sound of running water, then looked toward the camphor-wood cabinet, at the pastry box placed on it, the wool scarf hanging on the coat rack, the cloth-soled shoes by the door, over a dozen items, big and small, all sent by Lu Weining. In my past life, I was truly foolish. Lu Weining's hints and provocations were so obvious, yet I was completely oblivious. I walked over and moved the mung bean cakes aside, carefully pulling out the admission letter, the bright red paper, with the gold-stamped words, "Admission letter." Those 5 large characters were so obvious, yet Shin Chinian didn't see it. If he had cared even a little about me, he couldn't have looked at this admission letter and remained indifferent, acting as if it wasn't there. In my past life, in order to be a good wife to him, and take good care of this home, I silently tore up the letter after receiving it, and didn't go to university in the capital. This time, I will never do that again. I walked to the camphor-wood chest of drawers, opened a drawer, and carefully placed the bright red admission letter. Inside, on the other side of the drawer, lay an unfinished men's wool sweater. New clothes for the new year. It was a New Year's gift. I was knitting for Shin Chinian. But now, I deftly pulled out the knitting needles, took the half-finished sweater and carried it outside. It's freezing outside. The wind cuts right through you. But what's colder than this wind is my heart. I walked to the dumpster. I threw the half-finished sweater in my hand into the trash heap, along with the man in my heart. I threw it all away. Late at night, I tossed and turned in bed. A pair of scorching hands suddenly wrapped around my waist. A man's scent washed over me. Instinctively, I shifted away on the bed, avoiding Shin Chinian's touch. After all these years of marriage, this was the first time I'd refused him in bed. Shin Chinian seemed a bit surprised. Don't want it. I faced away from him, pulling the blanket tight. I have to get up early tomorrow. Let's sleep. Perhaps remembering that I have to care for my bedridden mother every day. Shin Chinian didn't press further. He tucked the blanket around me, and fell asleep. When I woke up the next day, Shin Chinian was already gone. As usual, I washed up, cooked some nourishing porridge, and brought it to Mother Shin's room. Porridge again, every single day. When are you going to give me a different breakfast? You can't take care of people. You can't even have a child. I really don't know why my son brought you home. Faced with Mother Shin's scolding and anger, I didn't argue. The doctor said her stomach is weak, so breakfast can only be easily digestible liquids. That's why I get up early to make porridge every day. It's fine if she doesn't appreciate it. The daughter-in-law she never liked will be gone from this house in just 10 days. I set down the porridge and spoon, then placed the hot water and radio by Mother Shin's bedside. Mom, I'm going to study. Call me if you need anything. Mother Shin started her usual nagging, scolding me. You're married now. What's the point of reading all those books? You'd be better off seeing a Chinese doctor and getting some fertility medicine. Give our Shin family an heir sooner. Carry on the family line. I gave a faint hum of acknowledgement, picked up the bamboo basket, and left, shutting out Mother Shin's nagging. Back in my own room, I opened the bookcase. Just as I was about to take a book to study, I found a yellowed piece of paper. It was the marriage application report, for me and Shin Chinian. The signature date in the bottom corner was 3 years ago. The leaders had already approved and signed it. All that was left was for us to get the license at the Civil Affairs office. Then we'd be legally married. But the night before we were to get the license, Shin Chinian received an urgent assignment. He rushed back to his unit. I'm sorry, I can't get the marriage certificate tomorrow. Wait for me to finish this mission and come back. We'll go then. Before leaving, Shin Chinian made a solemn promise. But when he came home a week later, it was as if he'd forgotten all about it. He never mentioned it again. I tried to speak up, too, but every single time, it was interrupted by something else with Shin Chinian. Eventually, I just let it go. Decades passed. I figured we were already a common-law marriage. Looking back now, we were an unlicensed couple our whole lives. How absurd. I pulled a wry smile. I took that marriage report form and slowly tore it to pieces. No marriage certificate. Leaving is easier this way. Now that I've decided to leave, it's time to clean out the house. Erase any trace of myself. I peeled off all the double happiness characters from the window frames and furniture. Tossed them into the bamboo basket. The red double happiness enamel mug in the cabinet. The bright red mandarin duck embroidered pillows. Every single item was carefully chosen and prepared when we first married. Looking at them now, there's no need to keep any of this. I cleared it all into the bamboo basket, without a moment's hesitation. Looking around, my gaze landed on the wedding photo hanging on the white wall. I'm wearing a neat blue work uniform. Shin Chinian is in a sharp green uniform. One of us is beaming like a flower. The other's mouth is a thin, tight line, as if just completing a task. Compared to that photo of him, with Lu whinnying in the locked box, I think, maybe that one is the real wedding photo in Shin Chinian's heart. I stepped onto a stool, took the frame down, grabbed a pair of scissors, snip, cut the wedding photo in two. A clean break, neat and tidy. That evening, as soon as Shin Chinian came home, he noticed the house had changed. Where's the wedding photo from the wall? I was busy tidying up the books. In a flat tone, the picture frame is broken. I took it down. Shin Chinian didn't ask any more questions. He just gave a perfunctory reply. I'll fix it another day. After saying that, he went to the next room to chat with his mother. Watching him walk away, I spoke silently in my heart. Shin Chinian, some things can never be fixed. Our marriage, our feelings, already have cracks that can never be repaired. That night, I had just gotten into bed, when Shin Chinian finished washing up and came in. With just one glance, he noticed the bedroom looked empty, like a lot of things were missing. Why is it so empty? Where did all the stuff go? I calmly said. The excuse I'd prepared, cleared out some old things. We'll get new stuff after the new year. Shin Chinian nodded. After the new year, I'll take you to the county town. We'll buy some new things. I didn't take Shin Chinian's words to heart. After New Year's Eve, I'll be leaving this place. As for furnishing the house, that's a task for the new lady of the house. A night breeze blew in, chilling the room. Shin Chinian closed the window, took off his outer clothes, and lay down on the outer side of the bed. He tucked me in, and that was it. Soon, the sound of steady, shallow breathing came. I instinctively turned to look at him. The sleeping man's brow was tightly furrowed, as if troubled by something in his dreams. Just thinking about his entanglement with Lu Weiniying, I think, it's probably because I'm just a placeholder, occupying the title of Mrs. Shen, living in this compound, that he can't openly take care of that woman. That's why he's so annoyed. Even sleeping next to me. It's fine. In a few more days, you'll never have to worry about this again, I said silently in my heart, turning over and closing my eyes. The next day, after preparing breakfast for my mother-in-law, I sat by the window folding colorful wishing stars. One after another, I had already filled nearly half a glass jar. Shin Chinian got up and saw this. He looked puzzled and asked me, what are you doing? I folded the colored paper in my hands, making wishing stars. They say if you fold 1,000 wishing stars, you can make a wish. After saying that, my hands paused. I looked up at the man beside me. Do you have any wishes? Shinchinian frowned. You're a family member of a public servant. Your thinking should be above that of the masses. This superstitious nonsense. Don't do it in the future. He put on his jacket, then faced the mirror to straighten his uniform and cap, ensuring they were neat and proper. Then he instructed, we have a lot of tasks at the station today. I might not be back tonight. Don't leave a light on for me. I watched the man stride away, his figure growing distant. Then I looked down at the wishing star in my hand. Shinchinian, you don't need to remind me. From now on, I will never leave a light on for you again. I fold 100 wishing stars every day, until New Year's Eve. That'll make 1,000 by then. A new year, a fresh start, new wishes. My New Year's wish is to leave this place. To leave you. My thoughts return to the present. I finish folding the 100 stars, and put the glass jar away in the cupboard. Then I start packing my bags. I cleared out some stuff yesterday, threw away what I didn't need. Today, it's time to sort through the things I'm taking with me. I open the wardrobe. I pack the few outfits I wear often into the suitcase. Then I add some books, notebooks, and stationery. There's still so much space left in the case. It hits me. In this huge house, my presence is so faint that it doesn't even fill a single suitcase. I sigh. I zip up the suitcase and slide it under the bed, remembering I need a photo for my registration in Jing City. I hop on my bike and head to the nearest photo studio in town, Hongqi Photo Studio. I've just parked my bike when I spot a familiar army green Jeep parked by the roadside. Why is Shinchinian's car here? Isn't he supposed to be on a mission? Instinctively, I glance through the studio's glass window. Inside, I see Lu Wenying, her hair in 2 braids, leaning her head against a man in uniform. She's smiling brightly. That man is Shinchinian. Shinchinian looks at the camera, a slight smile on his lips. The memory of that old photo overlaps with the scene before me. My eyes start to sting. So, in front of someone you love, even the coldest iceberg can melt. Watching this, a mix of emotions churns inside me. In my past life, I managed the household, cared for my in-laws, yet Shinchinian never even bought me a red hair ribbon, let alone took me to a photo studio. Tears fell silently, and I gently wiped them away with my fingertip. These tears weren't from self-pity, just the relief of waking from a nightmare. I should leave this place that's trapped me for 2 lifetimes, and leave the man who bound my future with marriage. I smiled silently, and didn't go in to disturb their photo session. Since I've already decided to leave, there's no need to torment myself. Anyway, in 10 days, I'll be gone, and then they can take as many photos as they want. I stood by the window, watching them finish their photos and leave the studio. Shinchinian personally opened the passenger door for Lu Wenying, and even thoughtfully helped her with the seatbelt. Lu Wenying smiled coyly at Shinchinian. Chinian, I'm really happy with today's photos. I've never had my picture taken before, and my first time was with you. Shinchinian affectionately ruffled her hair. Whenever you want to take more photos, in the future, I'll bring you again. We'll have a second time, a third time. The way they were chatting and laughing made them look more like a loving couple than Shinchinian and I ever did. Watching them walk away, my heart ached sharply. What a pitiful wife I've been, worse than an outsider. The road ahead was empty, leaving only a trail of exhaust fumes. I suddenly remembered that in my past life, I had never once ridden in Shinchinian's Jeep. Back then, whenever I needed the car, Shinchinian would always say with righteous indignation, the car belongs to the state. It's not right for you to ride in it. I don't want people saying I'm getting special treatment. When we get our own car someday, then I'll give you a ride. So every time I went to the market to buy things, I'd pedal my old bicycle and haul the heavy goods back home. Watching the Jeep drive off into the distance, I forced a bitter smile. So it wasn't that he couldn't use the state car. It was that the passenger seat was reserved for the one he loved. I, his wife in name only, wasn't worthy enough to sit there. I took a deep breath and steadied myself. Then I pushed open the photo studio door. I sat down in the chair. The soft studio light shone on my face. In my mind, I couldn't help but recall Shinchinian and Lu Wenying having their picture taken. On a strange impulse, I asked the photographer, that couple who were just here, they seemed to take quite a few photos. Yeah, probably newlyweds. They were a bit shy, but they make a handsome couple. Having lived through 2 lifetimes, my perspective had shifted. Now, hearing someone praise my husband for being a good match with another woman, I felt nothing inside. I pressed my lips together and smiled slightly at the camera. Yes, they are a good match. Thinking of the one photo Shinchinian and I ever took together, his expression was cold, his brow furrowed. Compared to the tenderness he showed just now, it was like night and day. In that stark contrast, I, his wife in name only, was truly pathetic. But that photo, I've already cut it out. Cut out a photo of a couple drifting apart, and cut out half a lifetime of misplaced affection. Leaving the photo studio, I rode my bike back. When I passed by the moat, I stopped. The river shimmered. A bridge covered in love locks spanned the banks. This is where Shinchinian and I first met. 4 years ago, a young comrade fell into the river. I jumped in to save them. After lifting the comrade to shore, I ran out of strength and nearly drowned. Shinchinian was there in time to pull me out, saving my life. The People's Daily devoted a whole page to the story about Shinchinian and me. Learn from Lei Feng, be a good role model, a true hero who acts bravely for justice. And from then on, the district leaders and village chief openly and subtly pushed us together until we married. After applying for the marriage report, Shinchinian brought me to this bridge. He personally locked a love lock engraved with our names and solemnly promised, Comrade Song Ziyi, though we haven't known each other long, the commander says feelings can be nurtured over time. After we marry, I will treat you well. Looking back on this now, I just think how foolish I was back then. A few of Shinchinian's insincere sweet words fooled me into loving him devotedly for a lifetime. His heart belonged to someone else, yet he lied, saying feelings could grow. He even wanted us to be the model couple in everyone's eyes. How ridiculous. If I'd known he had an unrequited love, I would never have married him. I bit my lip and looked down through the dense cluster of bronze locks, searching for that old love lock. By dusk, I finally found it. The lock engraved with Shinchinian and Song Ziyi. The lock had rusted. I reached out and gave it a gentle tug, and the bronze lock came loose. Copper rust stained my hand, giving off a corrosive smell. My relationship with Shinchinian was just like this broken lock. A gentle tug was all it took to break it. Things that are broken should be thrown away. Locks. And relationships too. I raised my hand, without any hesitation, and tossed the lock into the river. Back home, I was busy packing my things, and didn't rest until late at night, alone. The next day, I woke up to an empty space beside me. Shinchinian hadn't come home all night. I just glanced at it, and collected my thoughts. If a man's heart isn't at home, even if he comes back physically, it's as if he never returned. Having lived 2 lifetimes, I've come to understand that losing something feels more secure than having it. Sleeping alone isn't so bad. I got up and got ready, put on a white shirt, and rode my bike to night school. As the only one from night school to get into university, my classmates had already invited me for a pre-New Year dinner, both a celebration and a farewell. Midway through the meal, class monitor Su Yuanshao raised his glass. This year marks the first reinstatement of the college entrance exam after a 10-year hiatus. Congratulations to Comrade Song Ziyi on getting into university. Classmates, let's toast her with tea instead of wine, wishing her a bright future, and may we all meet at the peak. I quickly stood up. I downed my drink to show my sincerity. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'll be waiting for you all in the capital. Let's contribute to our country's future together. As we were chatting, someone asked about my family. You're going to college in the capital. Will Leader Shin be moving there too? My heart skipped a beat. I shook my head with a light laugh. He's a leader. He can't just change his post. I once crossed mountains and rivers for Shinchinian. I came here alone, but that man's heart was never with me. How could he possibly transfer to the capital for me? Now, for my dreams, I'm still on my own, leaving this place, leaving Shinchinian behind. You two have such a deep bond. Living apart won't matter. You can each serve the country in your own fields. It's truly admirable. My classmates didn't know the truth. They raised their glasses to me with smiles. I said nothing. I lifted my teacup and drank it all in one go. It also hid the emotions welling up in my eyes. That day, everyone spoke freely. In the night school cafeteria, it was carefree and spirited. By the time it ended, it was already dark. Our class monitor, Su Yuanchao, insisted on walking me home. We pushed our bicycles along the road back to the compound. The moonlight stretched our shadows out long behind us. For a moment, I felt a little dazed. In my past life, I was married to Shinchinian for 50 years, but it seems like he and I never walked side by side like this. All along, I was always following behind Shinchinian, time and again, chasing after his back. In this relationship, I was just a humble chaser of the light, but I've already decided to leave. I want to be a ray of light and be my own sun. As I was walking, I suddenly spotted a familiar green Jeep parked by the roadside in the family compound. Lu Weining and Shinchinian, dressed in blue-gray cotton clothes, walked out of the yard side by side. They were chatting and laughing. The sight made me instinctively want to hide, even though I'm the one who's the lady of this house. Right now, I feel like someone who doesn't belong in the light. What's wrong? Su Yuanchao noticed something was off with me. I was about to speak when I saw Lu Weining step on a loose stone and almost twist her ankle. Shinchinian was quick to react. He caught her. Auntie Yu from the next yard over happened to see this. She immediately started shouting, Comrade Lu Weining, you should keep some distance from a married man. Don't ruin the reputation of our family compound. Another auntie, who was snacking on sunflower seeds, also frowned. Yeah, Leader Shin's wife is right here. What's with all the hugging? Lu Weining's face instantly turned pale. She quickly moved away from Shinchinian and stood up straight. Shinchinian glanced at the 2 aunties from the next yard. His jaw tightened. The 2 immediately fell silent. They went back inside, still munching on seeds. Then he turned his gaze. He looked at me by the roadside, and at the man in the white shirt, standing next to me. Eyes meet. The atmosphere is a bit awkward. Lu Weiniang takes the initiative to explain to me. Ziyi, don't get the wrong idea. Brother Shen and I are just, simply colleagues. I give a faint smile. I know, between colleagues, helping each other out is only natural. After saying that, I look at Su Yuanchao, whose expression is complicated. Thank you for walking me home. Let's meet up again sometime. Su Yuanchao hesitates, wanting to say something. In the end, he only says, goodbye, and rides off on his bicycle. Lu Weiniang also picks up her bamboo basket and walks off in another direction. Shen Qinian watches as she disappears into the dark night. Worried, he seems to want to follow her, but when his eyes meet mine again, he stops himself. The two of us, one after the other, return home in silence. Shen Qinian is the first to break the silence. Lu Weiniang just came by to drop off some snowflake meatballs she made for Mom to try. If anyone starts gossiping about it later, make sure you explain. With a calm expression, I give a simple hum and say nothing more. But Shen Qinian asks again, who was that man just now? The class monitor from night school. A classmate got into university, so we all got together for a farewell dinner. I explain briefly. Shen Qinian's brow furrows slightly. They can have their gathering. You're a married woman. Why bother joining in? I froze and lowered my gaze. If this man had paid just a little attention, he would have known that in this village, the only one who got into college was his wife. But his heart and eyes were fixed on Lu Weiniang. He didn't care at all about anything concerning himself. In the past, if I had heard such words, I would have felt wronged and heartbroken. But now, my heart is as still as water. Since Shen Qinian doesn't care at all, I don't need to tell him that I'm planning to go to the capital for college. We won't be gathering anymore. I replied flatly. Once I go to the capital, even if I wanted to gather with my night school colleagues again, there'd be no chance. At night, after turning off the light, I lay in bed, ready to sleep. Shen Qinian's hand had just touched my body when I jolted away, moving further in. Once again, his rare advance was rejected. Shen Qinian sensed something was off. What's wrong with you lately? Why are you so cold to me? I said flatly, my back to him. You're overthinking it. I'm just a bit tired. Shen Qinian's breathing grew heavier, as if he felt something was slipping from his grasp. Acting on instinct, he wrapped his arms around my waist. I'll hold you while we sleep. My body stiffened a little, but I endured it and didn't push him away. That night, Shen Qinian slept soundly, but I lay awake the whole time. As the new year approached, Shen Qinian, for several days in a row, left early and returned late. His mother thought he was busy with work at his unit, but I knew he was just working hard, so Lu Weiniang could have a peaceful new year. I'm used to this kind of life, because I know if you don't expect anything, you won't be disappointed. After I'm gone, that man can finally, openly take care of the one he loves. These past few days, aside from taking good care of Mother Shen, fulfilling my final duties as a daughter-in-law, the rest of my time has been spent slowly clearing out all the things in this house that belong to me, waiting for the research institute's car to pick me up. Before I leave, I want to erase every trace of my life from this courtyard. Completely. The final day before departure, New Year's Eve, the communications room called me to answer a phone call. Comrade Song Ziyi, this is the new student office of the Research Institute. After the New Year's celebrations, the school bus will pick you up tomorrow morning at 8, at Nanling Station. Have you and your family reached an understanding? My hand gripping the phone receiver tightened. Please rest assured, Song Ziyi is ready and prepared. I can depart at any time. The teacher's voice came through the receiver again, sounding pleased. That's good. Once you step into the world of research, you must be prepared to sacrifice your personal life for the greater good. Our country needs young intellectuals like you. We await you in the capital. After hanging up, my calm heart rippled with emotion. To devote myself to serving the country has been my dream for 2 lifetimes. Now, it's finally within reach. All the grievances and endurance will become a thing of the past. Humming a tune, I returned home full of anticipation, but as soon as I entered, I found Shen Qinian had returned, after being absent for days. On the table were several gift boxes, of various sizes, printed with stars. Shen Qinian, seeing me, looking so radiant, couldn't help but ask, what's got you so happy? I paused briefly. Instinctively, I reined in the smile on my face. Got a call from back home, just some family stuff. Shen Qinian didn't press further. Instead, he pointed to the gift box on the table. It's the New Year's gift from the team. Make sure you keep it. I lowered my gaze. If he had paid a bit more attention, he'd know I don't have any relatives left back home who would call me for New Year's greetings. I pursed my lips. I didn't respond, but Shen Qinian didn't notice my odd behavior. Instead, he looked around at the cold, sparsely furnished house, noticing the lack of any spring festival atmosphere here. I'll go with you to the market to get some New Year's supplies. Tonight, the whole family can have a proper reunion dinner. Seeing him already getting up, I hesitated for a moment, but still followed him out. This New Year's Eve, the last one I'll spend here by myself. A year should have a proper beginning and end. Let's just consider it a clean break. for our marriage. The market, big red lanterns and paper cuts on the street, full of festive cheer, a lively atmosphere everywhere. Looking at this scene, my mood felt a bit dazed. In my past life, during the New Year's market trips, I was always alone. Back then, seeing young couple after young couple, walking hand in hand, laughing and talking, my heart was filled with envy. All by myself, I'd buy a whole bunch of New Year's goods, decorated the house festively, made a whole table of New Year's Eve dishes, waited for Shinchinian to come home. Year after year, it was always the same. But now, the same New Year, the same market, Shinchinian is by my side, following closely behind. Yet my state of mind is completely different. Any wishes for the new year? The man beside me suddenly asked. I paused, remained silent, not answering. What I once dreamed of is finally right in front of me, but my heart no longer stirs. Companionship that comes too late is still too late. Suddenly, amidst the colorful displays in the shop windows, my gaze was caught by a fiery red scarf. That brilliant splash of red fluttered like a flag in the wind. In the winter, it stirred something in me. Do you like it? I'll buy it. Shinchinian's low voice pulled me back from my thoughts. This man has never given me a New Year's gift, and the gift I originally made for him, a hand-knitted sweater, I've already thrown away with my own hands. I'm leaving tomorrow. No need for me to bring a gift from him to the capital. Just as I was about to speak, an urgent shout rang out from behind us. Director Shin. A subordinate rushed over, leaned close to Shinchinian, and whispered something into his ear. Comrade Lu Weiniing from the cultural troupe asked me to find you. A cold wind blew. It carried the subordinate's words to my ear, then scattered them. What exactly the subordinate said, I don't know. I only saw Shinchinian's expression change. The look in his eyes as he glanced at me became evasive. Ziyi, there's an urgent matter at the station. I have to go on duty. Go ahead and look around by yourself. Buy whatever you want. I'll be home tonight to be with you and Mom for the New Year's Eve dinner. After saying this, he stuffed a roll of cash and some coupons into my hand. Then he hurried off with the subordinate. Shinchinian. I instinctively called out to him. The man quickly halted his steps and turned back to look at me. What's wrong? Seeing his flustered look, I forced a slight smile and swallowed the words I had intended to say. Be careful. Don't look back. I reminded him softly. Shinchinian's brow furrowed slightly. He seemed to find my words a bit strange, but he didn't dwell on it. Wait for me at home. With that, he got into the jeep and sped away. Gazing in the direction the car had gone, I murmured softly, Shinchinian, I won't wait for you anymore. I took a deep breath. I wrapped the cash and coupons Shinchinian gave me in a handkerchief and put it in my pocket. Then I walked up to the stall, took out my own money, and bought that red scarf, a vibrant red scarf, just like the new life I was about to begin. This isn't a gift from Shinchinian, it's a New Year's gift, from me, Song Ziyi, to myself. 12 hours until departure. I went home. I went straight to the kitchen, with the groceries. Mrs. Shin got out of bed with her cane. She noticed Shinchinian was missing. She quickly asked, why are you back alone? I kept my head down, chopping vegetables. My voice was calm. Something came up at the station. He's busy. Mrs. Shin tapped her cane on the floor, muttering to herself. It's the New Year's holiday. What could possibly be so urgent at the station? I heard her, but I didn't respond. 8 p.m. Firecrackers. The air was filled with the scent of reunion. I brought dish after dish to the table. Then I helped Mrs. Shin to her seat. It's dinner time. Why isn't Chinian back yet? Mrs. Shin listened to the lively sounds outside, then looked at the quiet house, and sighed again. I put a piece of pork knuckle in her bowl. I said softly, let's eat while we wait, otherwise the food will get cold. Mrs. Shin nodded. She piled her bowl with chicken, duck, fish, and meat. I remembered that before. She had high blood pressure and diabetes. When she passed, it was due to a cerebral hemorrhage. After the new year, I would be leaving soon. I couldn't help but remind her a couple more times. You need to be more careful from now on. Balance your diet with meat and vegetables. Eat more greens too. Don't eat things that are too salty or sweet. On sunny days, get out more to soak up some sun. Open the windows often for ventilation. Mrs. Shin looked displeased. She cut me off. Why are you saying all this? It sounds like tomorrow you won't be here anymore. Instead of worrying about me, you should worry more about you too. It's been 3 years since you got married. Why is there still no sign of a baby? I shut my mouth and focused on eating. Time ticked by. The sound of fireworks outside rose and fell. Mrs. Shin looked at the empty doorway, then glanced at the mantel clock. She frowned. It's almost midnight. New Year's Eve dinner time has already passed. Why isn't Chinian back yet? Go to his station and ask what's going on. Seeing she was still worried, I told her the truth. He's at the song and dance troupe for the time being. I'm afraid he won't be back. After hearing this, Mrs. Shin's expression changed slightly. She said nothing more. Sighing, she went back to her room with her cane. 8 hours until departure. I looked down and picked up a piece of fish. Then I picked up a piece of chicken, wishing for abundance year after year, good fortune and all the best. This last New Year's Eve dinner, carefully prepared by myself, had excellent symbolism. After eating the final dumpling symbolizing reunion, I spat out the square-holed copper coin inside. I wanted to gather all the blessings and keep them for myself. Suddenly, a firework flashed outside the window. Firecrackers and the chimes of the new year exploded across the sky of the entire residential compound. Brilliant fireworks kept blooming. Cheers from people outside reached my ears. I turned my head and saw the second hand on the clock. Just past midnight, the new year had arrived. How wonderful. I picked up the sparkler fountain I had bought earlier and went into the courtyard. I personally lit this firework. One after another, the fireworks rose into the sky and bloomed in the air. Radiant blossoms. Watching the scene in the night sky, the flower in my heart bloomed as well. Happy New Year, I said to myself. The New Year's firework I lit with my own hands also represented my impending farewell to the past, welcoming a new life alone. From now on, even through wind and rain, I will walk alone, unafraid. 6 hours until departure. I returned to my room. I took out the unfinished paper strips to keep folding wishing stars. I filled the entire glass jar with wishing stars, all 1,000 of them, completely finished. The sky began to lighten. The sun rose in the east. I took the glass jar's stopper and sealed it tight. I took out a blank sheet of paper and carefully wrote down my words. 1 hour on the clock. I placed the note underneath the glass jar. Then, without a hint of nostalgia, I turned around. I tied on my red scarf, took my letter of admission, and picked up my suitcase. I left without looking back. The sun had just risen. Golden rays burst across the horizon, illuminating the path ahead. The path I had chosen. Elsewhere, Lu Wenying's high fever had finally broken, and she was conscious again. Shen Qinian saw that she was out of danger. He relayed the doctor's instructions to her, and prepared to take his leave. Lu Wenying called out to stop him. Her voice was very weak. I've caused you so much trouble, Comrade Qinian. Shen Qinian shook his head, saying it was nothing. The three of us grew up together. Before he left, what worried him most was you. You should get some rest. About this trip to perform in the countryside, don't participate. I've already requested leave for you. Lu Wenying nodded. Then she added, I've delayed your family reunion. I'll come by another day to thank you properly. Shen Qinian waved his hand and said, no need. For some reason, he felt Song Ziyi probably didn't want to see Lu Wenying. Since last night, his right eyelid had been twitching non-stop. The old folks always say, left eye twitching means good fortune. He felt a bit uneasy, but as soon as this thought arose, he quickly suppressed it. Feudal superstition, not to be trusted. Shen Qinian quickened his pace to get home. Passing by a video store, he was caught by the song floating from the tape recorder. Beautiful village, beautiful scenery. You often appear in my dreams. Shen Qinian stopped. He asked for the song's name. The owner told him it was sung by Deng Lijun. Love in a Small Village. He remembered this singer was mentioned by Song Ziyi, a Hong Kong and Taiwan star. She was also Song Ziyi's idol. Shen Qinian used to be dismissive of it because he believed no song could compare to the songs from his troupe. They were rousing, but this time, he suddenly realized these sentimental tunes from Hong Kong and Taiwan stars were actually quite pleasant to listen to. Shen Qinian bought this cassette tape. He planned to give it to Song Ziyi. He couldn't go back as promised, to have New Year's Eve dinner with her, to stay up with her. That was truly his fault. But the comrades in the troupe had to perform in the countryside after the New Year. The team arranged a dinner for them, and at this time, Lu Wenying had a bad cold with no one to care for her. If he didn't go help, who else would look after her? But there was no need to tell Song Ziyi all this. Next year, he would definitely go home and spend time with her properly. Shen Qinian was lost in thought. Before he knew it, he was home. He tightened his coat, holding the newly bought tape. He pushed open the door, but the house was quiet. Shen Qinian frowned. Something felt off. He entered his room. It felt even emptier, as if something important had been suddenly taken away. His gaze fell upon the jar on the table, filled with wishing stars. Shen Qinian's eyes suddenly narrowed. He walked over and picked up the note on the table. Shen Qinian, my New Year's wish is to leave you. Goodbye. Shen Qinian's heart wrenched. He clenched the note tightly in his hand. Leaving the room, he asked his mother, where's Song Ziyi? Mother Shen was watching TV in the living room. She turned, puzzled. Isn't she in her room? Or maybe she went out to buy groceries. She's not in the room. The kitchen is full of food. She didn't need to buy groceries. She just left without a word. From outside came the sound of festive Suona horns and gongs. Shen Qinian walked to the door. It was a dragon dance team, bringing New Year's greetings. As soon as they met, the man offered congratulations. Leader Shen, your wife is really something. She got into a research institute. Your family has produced the only college student from the village. Shen Qinian was stunned. What was he saying? His wife, Song Ziyi, got into college, the only one. His dazed expression left the other person bewildered too. What? You don't know? You didn't go see her off yesterday? Shen Qinian lowered his head and looked at the note in his hand. Only then did he realize Song Zi wasn't just throwing a simple tantrum to hide out for a few days. She had abandoned him and their home to go to the capital for university. Meanwhile, I took the school bus and transferred to a green train. After bumping along for dozens of hours, I finally arrived in the capital. As I exited the station, I spotted from afar Teacher Zhang, her hair all white, with a few students, holding up a sign with my name, standing in the crowd. I rushed over to join them. "Zi, the journey must have been tiring," I quickly said. "Not at all. It's more that I've troubled you and the other students." Teacher Zhang shook her head, beaming. "Old Chai and I never had children. We've always considered you all as our own. You'll stay at my place before the semester starts. There's plenty of room." I didn't refuse. I was deeply moved. Teacher Zhang is already in her 50s. After her husband passed away, she never remarried. In my heart, I've long regarded her as a mother. I've been an orphan since childhood, growing up in an orphanage. In my past life, marrying Shen Qinian, I thought he would give me a complete family. Who knew? It was all a lie. Lost in these thoughts, I drifted off to sleep. In my dreams, I saw the scene after exiting the station, the bustling traffic, and the lively chatter. In early March, the research institute started. I dragged my suitcase out early in the morning. In 1978, everything was being rebuilt. The capital city was no exception. The roar of diesel engines echoed from one street to the next. Truck cabs, half-painted crimson, pulled trailers towards various districts. Standing on the bus, I kept looking out the window. I couldn't help but sigh, thinking of my past life, decades trapped by the stove and the dining table, compared to now, being able to come to the capital alone, to study, to live freely. The contrast was like night and day. I got off the bus. I stopped at a breakfast stall. I ordered something that's supposedly a must-have breakfast for true Jingshi locals. You're not a real Jingshi person if you don't drink fermented mung bean juice. First, the juice has to be served piping hot, bubbling slightly, is the perfect temperature. Secondly, it must be paired with finely shredded, pickled mustard tuber, drizzled with chili oil. And you also need 2 fried dough rings. I've long heard about this famous drink. Now I've finally encountered it. I couldn't help but want to try it. The flavor is a bit too strong for me. I'm not used to it, but I forced myself to finish it, grimacing. Then I took a big bite of a fried bread stick to wash down this authentic Jingshi taste. I thought to myself, since the bean juice isn't to my taste, next time I'll just go and try Jingshi roast duck. When I got to the school, the first thing that caught my eye was a red banner with the words, "Welcome Station," in bold font. I straightened out my polyester military-style uniform. Walking at a steady pace, I strode over with my head held high. I registered. It was already noon when I reached the dorm. There was only one girl in a yellow shirt making her bed. Seeing me come in, the girl smiled and asked, "My name is Huang Guifan. And you?" I smiled back at her. "My name is Song Zi." Huang Guifan walked over. She shook my hand. Then, as if she suddenly remembered something, "So you're Song Zi?" For a moment, I was a bit confused. "Yeah, I'm Song Zi." "Why?" Huang Guifan climbed down the ladder. She told me mysteriously, "There are 10 registered letters for you at the mailroom. You should go check." I thanked Huang Guifan and headed to the mailroom. After getting the letters, I looked at the return address. Sure enough, it was from Shen Qinian's military academy unit. But now, even if I wanted to refuse them, I couldn't find the mail carrier. I had no choice but to take the stack of letters back to the dorm. Who is Shen Qinian? Judging by the dates, he wrote 10 letters to you in a row. I casually put the letters on the table. Eagle-eyed Huang Guifan saw the signature. I threw all the letters into the trash. No one, just some annoying guy. Huang Guifan picked all the letters back up. She put on an ingratiating smile. "I get it. My lips are sealed. I won't say a word. I collect stamps. If you don't want the letters, just toss them. Could you give me the stamps?" I glanced at it. The stamp on the envelope. "It'll be out of print decades from now. I should just send it back to him. If you like stamps, I have a small collection. You can have them." Huang Guifan was overjoyed. She hugged me, calling me her soulmate. Even though I kept refusing Shen Qinian's letters, he persisted. He sent them one after another, but his letters were just too frequent. Eventually, even the guard at the mailroom knew the name. Seeing it was from Shen Qinian, he'd tell the postman to refuse it. My classmates all said, Song Zi had a crazy secret admirer. He was relentless. 3 letters a week, for an entire semester. Comrade Z didn't open a single one. I'm quite content with my life now. Classroom building, library, cafeteria, dorm. Occasionally, with Huang Guifan and a few other girls from the dorm, we'd go watch a ball game, or join some club activities. That Friday, after the last class, I rode my bike out, a small bag slung over my shoulder. Z, I just left the gate, when a familiar voice called from behind. I turned around. Shen Qinian was there in plain clothes, standing at the school gate. Looked like he'd been waiting a while. I stopped my bike. My tone was flat. "What are you doing here?" Shen Qinian looked at me intently. "I wrote you so many letters, and you returned every single one. I thought I should come explain in person." The school gate was bustling with people. Shen Qinian, standing over 6 feet tall, even without his uniform. He couldn't hide that commanding presence. I didn't want to cause a scene at school, so I led him to a noodle shop in an alley. We each ordered a bowl of zhajiangmian. We sat down to eat and talk. Unlike before, this time, I was mostly silent, while Shinchinian, usually a man of few words, had a lot more to say. Not coming back that day for New Year's Eve dinner was wrong. I apologize. But there really was a reason. The entire cultural troupe was performing at the evening gala. Lu Weining fell ill, and there was no one to take care of her. The next day, as soon as her fever broke, I came back. I didn't even lift my eyelids, just kept eating my noodles. Shinchinian changed the subject again, to a new one. But I think your issue with me probably isn't because of this. Even before this, you were already acting strange. Comrade Song Ziyi, if I've done anything wrong, and you pointed out, I can change. I finished the last bite of noodles, and put down my chopsticks. That won't be necessary. Comrade Shinchinian, we are breaking up. My voice was icy, devoid of any emotion. Shinchinian listened, his brow furrowing tightly. Breaking up? We're already married. I cut him off, looking straight into his eyes as I spoke. We never registered our marriage. I'm informing you now. Not discussing it with you. Please don't casually disturb my life anymore. After saying all that, I stood up, paid the bill, and left. Shinchinian's mind almost couldn't process it. My words were like several firecrackers, suddenly exploding in his mind. The rapid pops leaving him stunned. He chased after me, blocking my bicycle, and said with some urgency, I only have 3 days of leave. Don't throw a tantrum like this. If you want to study, that's fine too. Stay and study, but don't say such angry words anymore. I brushed his hand away. Don't stop me, and don't follow me. Then I stepped on the pedals, and rode away. Just like the day I left, I didn't hesitate. I didn't look back. Shinchinian stood there dumbfounded, watching my receding figure. For the first time, he deeply realized that I was truly saying goodbye. After this meeting, Shinchinian never sent another letter. I thought to myself, he's finally given up. Now, I could finally focus on my studies in peace. Smooth sailing days always pass by quickly. Before I knew it, the semester was over. Not long after the second semester began, a new round of college entrance exams arrived. Half a year later, Su Yuanchao actually got into the research institute. Watching him appear before me, full of youthful energy, I thought this person really was quite clever. He was willing to work hard, so I showed him around campus, and then treated him to his first meal in the cafeteria. Su Yuanchao scratched his head, looking a bit embarrassed. I still have to thank you for your study materials. Don't mention it. In the end, studying is up to you. The competition was so fierce. Getting accepted was all your own doing. You chose the physics department, which is the same as my roommate, Huang Guifan. I'll introduce you two later. She's a very warm-hearted girl. I'm sure you'll get along. Su Yuanchao opened his mouth, but didn't say anything. I could tell from his expression. He seemed to have something to say, so I pressed him. Comrade Su Yuanchao, is there a problem? Su Yuanchao was stunned, but he still asked the question on his mind. You came to the capital city for university. Why didn't Leader Shen come with you? Leader Zhou's wife got into university this year, so Leader Zhou applied for a transfer here. I shook my head, explaining calmly, the capital city isn't a place you can just transfer to. Besides, we never actually got married, and now I've broken up with him. Su Yuanchao was shocked by this news. His mouth hung open, a flicker of light in his eyes. It's not that I couldn't see his feelings, but I really don't have the heart for that right now. Having been given a second chance at life, romance isn't part of my plan. Classmate Su Yuanchao, let me be clear. Even though I'm single now, I just want to focus on my studies. The light in Su Yuanchao's eyes visibly dimmed. I will definitely study hard, and I won't disturb your studies either. Since he put it that way, I couldn't say anything more. Given enough time, Su Yuanchao would naturally know when to back off. Study hard, and contribute to the country after graduation. That's how you make the most of your youth, and live up to your prime. I didn't bring up anything else, and just said that. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, after Su Yuanchao was admitted to the research institute, my study buddy and meal buddy count increased by 1. In the school library, the study halls, on the sports field, and the cafeteria, you could often see the three of us together. Life went on with all the bickering and banter, the laughter, the anger, the ordinary days. If it weren't for a phone call from Mr. Zhang, I would have almost forgotten about Shinchinian. At the end of the year, I was originally planning to stay in the capital to celebrate the new year with Mr. Zhang, but after class that day, Mr. Zhang suddenly called me. Ziyi, the hospital district said Shinchinian's mother suddenly fell critically ill. She wants to see you one last time. I was shocked. My hand holding the phone tightened unconsciously. Last time, the time of Mother Shin's passing, was 20 years later. I remember it was a very ordinary afternoon. As usual, I bought groceries, went home, and cooked. As soon as I entered, I saw Mother Shin lying in the rocking chair, her eyes closed. Her hand had dropped down, the palm leaf fan fallen on the floor. I went over to check. I found she was no longer breathing. After the paramedics arrived, they determined the old lady had a sudden cerebral infarction. At the beginning of the year, before I came to the capital. Mother Shin was still in good health. How could she suddenly become so critically ill? I felt something was very suspicious, although Shin Qinian and I no longer had feelings for each other. But after all, Mother Shin and I had lived together for so many years. Out of both affection and duty, I had to go back and see. Mr. Zhang, I'll go back to the Shin family to check if everything's fine. I'll rush back before the Lantern Festival to celebrate with you. Winter break. Having left the Shin family for almost a year, I boarded the green skin train for the return journey, returning to the familiar Nanling County town. Seeing the walls with those familiar bright red slogans, it felt like a lifetime had passed. The winds of reform had already swept across the land, but the changes here weren't that great until I saw the newest slogan in the hospital district compound: March on Science and Technology. Standing before the Shin family's doorplate, I paused for a moment, then pushed the door open and went in. Ziyi, you're back. Mother Shin was sitting in the rocking chair, sunbathing in the courtyard. The afternoon sunlight fell upon her, making her appear much gentler than usual. But I felt that Mother Shin's smile right now sent a chill down my spine. She's not sick at all. She just lied to get me back. Shin's mother realized I was angry too. She quickly got up from her chair and waved me over. You must be tired after traveling all day, right? Come inside and rest. Even though I used being sick as an excuse to trick you into coming back, you left without a word at the beginning of the year and haven't been in touch all year. I pursed my lips, thinking of all the little moments from the years I spent with Shin's mother. In the end, I couldn't bring myself to turn and leave. It wasn't until 5:30 in the afternoon that Shin Qinian hurried back with a boxed meal. Ziyi, there was a touch of excitement in Shin Qinian's voice. I could tell at a glance that Shin's mother had faked being sick to call me back. Shin Qinian didn't know about it. Shin's mother has trouble getting around and doesn't like going out much since he was back, and it was getting late. I got up to leave. Where are you going? Seeing that I was about to leave again, Shin Qinian couldn't help but press further. My plan was to take advantage of the fact that it wasn't dark yet and either find a place to stay with a villager for the night or go to the town's guest house. That was the plan. I have a place to go. No need to trouble yourself. Auntie, I'll come see you again next time. Hearing me say that, Shin Qinian got a bit flustered. He blocked my path, stood in the doorway, and didn't move an inch. I glared at him. Shin Qinian didn't budge. But then Shin's mother spoke up to defuse the situation. The Zhou family next door, the leaders, moved to the capital city before the new year. You can stay there for now. Don't go through the trouble of finding somewhere else. It's the New Year season. It's not convenient. But I was still a bit hesitant. Even if the house in the compound is vacant, someone like me shouldn't just stay there. But Shin Qinian caught on and went along with what Shin's mother said. I'll take you over there first. Then I'll go file a report. I'll definitely handle everything properly through the official channels. Seeing that I was still hesitating, Shin Qinian pressed on. The leader also told me to have a good talk with you, hoping you'd give me a chance. With things having come to this point, I couldn't refuse anymore. Shin Qinian eagerly took my suitcase from me, then opened the door for me, and we stepped out one after the other. Suddenly, I heard Shin's mother call out from behind. Ziyi, tomorrow is Minor New Year. Come over to the house for dumplings. I turned back. Her cloudy eyes and face were full of anticipation. It was as if I saw another version of myself, and memories came flooding back. During those dull, waiting days, Shin's mother was also there, eagerly hoping, alongside me. In her heart, what she longed for most was for the family to be reunited, and to have a lively New Year celebration. My heart softened again, and I agreed. I stepped out into the fading light of sunset. With a turn of my steps, I arrived at the courtyard next door. I didn't say a word. Shin Qinian was unlocking the door while discussing with me. We haven't visited the Zhang family or the orphanage, and Director Wu's home with you this year. Should we go before the new year or after? I shook my head and said, no need. I'm just back to see your mother. Don't get the wrong idea. Shin Qinian acted as if he hadn't heard me. The door opened. He still wanted to follow me in. I reached out and blocked the doorway. Comrade Shin Qinian, please go back. Given our current relationship, it's better to keep some distance. After a long moment, Shin Qinian finally found his voice. Tomorrow, I'll come find you tomorrow. I watched him deliver that line with forced calm, then turn and stride away. Only, he didn't realize he'd turned the wrong way. I hesitated for just a second, and decided not to bother pointing it out. A few extra steps won't kill him. Without any further hesitation, I closed the courtyard gate, and slid the bolt shut. Not that I was afraid of anyone barging in. It was just a habit. I put down my luggage. Then, knowing the place well, I boiled water to wipe away the dust, then make the bed. As for dinner, I'd brought some dry rations. I'll soak them when the water's ready. Lost in thought, a knock came at the door. Who is it? I walked to the door and asked. It's me. Open the door. From outside came Shin Qinian's voice. I was puzzled. didn't he just leave? Why is he back? I opened the door. Shin Chinian stood there, one hand holding an aluminum lunchbox, the other carrying a tightly bundled, perfectly square package of bedding. Brought you some things. It's cold, don't catch a chill. I remembered my suitcase didn't have a thick quilt, so I didn't refuse again. Being stubborn now would only make things harder for myself. No need for that. Thanks. I'll tidy it up and return it when I leave. Shin Chinian seemed to have found an opening. While I was boiling water, he kept coming back, delivering more and more things. A double happiness wash basin, a colorful enamel thermos, an enamel teacup. Finally, he even brought over the family's cassette recorder, along with a few tapes of Teresa Teng's songs. I bought these for you last New Year. You left suddenly, so I never got to give them to you. If you get bored, you can listen to some music. Comrade Shin Chinian, there's no need for all this trouble. Shin Chinian finally left a string of cured meat and a basket of eggs. You should get some rest. I'll be going now. Call me if you need anything. The house, once empty, after his deliveries, suddenly felt like a home again. Whatever. When you're in deep, what's a little more debt? At worst, before I leave, I'll leave some money for Mrs. Shen. All this stuff, consider it rented. In my past life, after marriage, most of the money I had was given by Shin Chinian. After being reborn, I first used the savings from my previous salary to buy some essentials. After getting into university and moving to the capital, I also received a stipend from the asterisk family, but that still wasn't enough for me to live independently. So in my spare time, I started submitting articles to newspapers. Over the year, I saved up nearly $200 in fees. This extra income, combined with the student stipend, meant my life was no longer tight. Huang Guifan saw me receiving so much in fees every month and was envious, and also a bit puzzled. Even if you don't join a research institute, you could become a writer, and surely achieve great things. Why work so hard on research? I shook my head. Compared to making money, I'd rather devote myself to scientific research, to contribute more to our country and society. As for money, having enough is fine. Huang Guifan praised me, saying I have high ideological awareness, unlike some people who say one thing and do another behind your back. Everyone has their own way of living. Everyone has the right to choose. That's how I finally answered Zhang Guifan. Zhang Guifan thought my words were very profound. She took out her notebook and copied down that sentence. She placed it together with her copy of To the Oak Tree. Putting them together, the sound of the water boiling interrupted my train of thought. I got up to pour the water. After 2 hours of busy work, I finally settled down inside. The next day, I got up and prepared to help make dumplings. Shin's mother is getting older. In previous years, it was always me who handled the New Year's preparations. But as soon as I stepped out, I ran into Shin Chinian shoveling snow. It snowed yesterday. I was afraid you might slip, so I'm clearing it. Although the man was wearing a thick green coat and wool gloves, looking along the path he had cleared, he had actually shoveled the snow from the entire road in front of the door. Had breakfast. My mom is making noodles. Want to join us? I didn't answer Shin Chinian. I just walked on and entered the Shin family's courtyard. Ziyi's here. Hearing the noise, Shin's mother came out of the kitchen. I rolled up my sleeves and said I came to help. The noodles will be ready soon. You and Chinian just sit down and wait to eat. I had an absurd feeling. After all these years, it seemed like the first time I was being treated as a guest by the Shin family. In my past life, Shin's mother, although she and I had been together for many years, she always held some resentment towards me. The main reason was because I never gave the Shin family a child. Until her death, she believed that I was the one who prevented the family line from continuing. The treatment I'm getting now is something I never dared to imagine before. But since Shin's mother insisted, I didn't force my way into the kitchen. When the noodles were served, Shin Chinian thoughtfully added a fried egg for me. Thank you. My thanks were polite yet distant. Shin Chinian couldn't have missed that, but he still held back his temper and replied, "Don't mention it." Time passed in this less than harmonious conversation. After finishing the noodles, I joined the Shin family to make dumplings. Just like on New Year's Eve, we still wrapped some dumplings with coins inside. Shin's mother even specially prepared 3 different fillings: pork and cabbage, symbolizing wealth and blessings; beef and celery, symbolizing diligence leading to wealth; and pork and lotus root, symbolizing many children and good fortune. This time, Shin Chinian didn't stand by and say any superstitious nonsense. Instead, he helped wrap a few not so pretty, many children, dumplings. I didn't make a big deal out of it, but I didn't say anything either. It's the new year. Everyone wants good luck. I figured after this little New Year's lunch, I could pack up and head over to the neighboring county to visit Director Wu and swing by the orphanage to see the kids. Even though I've been sending letters and money from school, since I'm back now, I should show up in person. Lost in these thoughts, I'd almost finished the dumplings in my bowl. Shin Chinian's ladle dipped into the big bowl and added a few more to mine. Looking at the 5 plump, white dumplings, I was feeling pretty full. I glanced at Shin Chinian. If you can't finish them, I'll eat them. I was absolutely certain that if I nodded right then, Shin Chinian would definitely take my bowl and eat them himself. I didn't want that, so I forced myself to say, no need. Then I huffed and puffed, and started eating. Just then, a soft, delicate voice suddenly came from the doorway. Auntie, Brother Shin, Happy Little New Year. May all go well. I turned my head. I saw a young woman, with braided pigtails, wearing a green uniform, walking in with a gift box. Looking closer, it was Lu Weining. Oh, sister-in-law is here too. Hello, sister-in-law. Lu Weining acted as if she just noticed me, greeting me with a smile. Even though this was my former romantic rival, I didn't show any displeasure. I nodded at Lu Weining. Just call me by my name. Comrade Shin Chinian and I have already separated. Lu Weining was taken aback for a moment. She looked over as if seeking help. Shin Chinian. Shin Chinian's expression changed slightly. He didn't pick up on that topic. What brings you here? Are you feeling better? Lu Weining composed her expression. Once again, she put on a gentle smile. Thank you for your concern and care. I'm much better now. I should have come on New Year's Day to pay my respects and offer greetings. But this year, I want to go back to visit Xiaoqing's grave. I wasn't sure if you'd still be home by then. Watching the two of them going back and forth, I wasn't actually angry, nor did I feel upset. It was Mrs. Shin who spoke up first. You came specifically to see Chinian. Lu Weining seemed to realize she had said the wrong thing. She quickly tried to correct herself. No, that's not it. What I meant was, I heard Comrade Zi is studying in the capital. I was afraid that after the new year, the Shin family, like Chief Shou's family, would also move to the capital. Then it would be hard for us to meet again. When Lu Weining mentioned her late husband, Li Xiaoqing, Shin Chinian's gaze softened. Lu Weining glanced at him, then looked at Song Ziyi and Mrs. Shin. After a few pleasantries, she prepared to leave. Shin Chinian put down his chopsticks. He was still somewhat concerned. Mom, Ziyi, I'll see her out. I scoffed inwardly. After all that fawning, as soon as his first love shows up, he can't sit still. Good thing I'm strong-willed, and wasn't swayed by his sweet talk. There was one last dumpling left in my bowl. I suddenly completely lost my appetite. I couldn't force it down. I simply dumped it all into the trash. This action made Mrs. Shin pause. But in the end, she didn't scold me for wasting food. Instead, she spoke to me kindly, saying, Chinian just has a cold exterior but a warm heart. He takes his responsibilities too seriously. Lu Weining's husband, Li Xiaoqing, died, taking a bullet for him. That's why he looks after Lu Weining so much. Don't take it to heart. I won't. I understand. I smiled. I said nonchalantly. Just then, the two of us suddenly heard from outside the sound of a car starting. Mrs. Shin frowned. Go see what's going on. Where is he driving off to at this hour? I said okay. What else could it be for? It must be to see Lu Weining off. Sure enough, as soon as I stepped out, I saw Shin Chinian opening the passenger door for Lu Weining. Seeing this scene, I was ready to nod and leave. I have my own things to attend to this afternoon. No time to bother with the two of them. But Lu Weining wasn't about to let me off that easily. Comrade Zi, if you're not busy, why not come with us to the county? It's the new year. Let's go see the market, enjoy the bustle. The provocation was obvious. My temper flared up right then and there. It wasn't until my previous life ended that I finally realized Shin Chinian had such a white moonlight in his heart. I also knew that in the end, this female comrade met a tragic fate. She died young from breast cancer. If this cancer is detected and treated early, there's actually a high probability it can be cured. In my limited interactions with Lu Weining, I only knew her as a delicate woman from the south, petite in stature, soft in tone. But I didn't expect this encounter to reveal such a direct hostility from Lu Weining. Perhaps, in my past life, I was always like a background character, quietly standing behind Shin Chinian, a useless housewife. How could I compare to a female cadre from the cultural troupe? But now, perhaps Lu Weining feels threatened. Comrade Lu Weining, I don't have time to go shopping with you. Go by yourselves. If you have time, you should pay more attention to your own health. After leaving those words, I turned and walked away. From behind me, I heard Lu Weining's voice choke up slightly. Sis-in-law, did you misunderstand something? Are you mad at me? Maybe you should go and comfort your wife first. I know that decades later, there's a term called green tea. I always thought the one Shin Chinian held in his heart must have been some noble, virtuous person. But now, it seems she's nothing special. What I didn't expect, though, was that in less than 20 minutes, Shin Chinian was knocking on my door again. Didn't you take Lu Weining to the county town? No, I drove the car to the gate, then had the driver take her. I was speechless for a moment. Finally, I just replied, oh, and went to close the door. But Shin Chinian stopped it with his hand. For the holiday shopping, I can take you on my bicycle. I refused his offer of a ride. I didn't want to go with Shin Chinian. On the road, looking at the man riding alongside me, I thought to myself, I probably won't be able to shake off this sticky guy for the whole New Year holiday. So annoying. When will he learn to be more like Su Yuanchao and have a bit more sense? The county town was naturally not as bustling as the capital, but it was still the most prosperous place for miles around. I nimbly weaved through the stalls along the long street, picking out what I needed. I'd spot something, agree on a price, and pay for it. This whole routine was so smooth and natural that Shinchinian was left unable to get a word in edgewise, let alone pay for me. Every time his hand with the money reached out, the vendor and I had already finished the deal with thanks. Some of the more gossipy vendors would even tease Shinchinian with a smile. Comrade, you're not as quick as the lady comrade here. But before I knew it, I ended up buying more and more. One basket just wasn't enough anymore. Shinchinian finally saw his chance to shine. Let me carry that. It's hard to shop with your hands full. I calmly uttered 2 words. No need. I then turned around and approached a young man selling radishes with a donkey cart. Hey there, can your donkey cart make deliveries? Of course. I paid him readily. I had him deliver the goods to the orphanage in the neighboring county. He had come to sell radishes and still had some left. I bought his entire remaining stock. The cart owner was so happy. He gave me a salute. Mission accomplished. Guaranteed. Song Zi smiled and said, no rush. I'm not done shopping yet. You wait right here. I'll have the vendors send everything over to you. Shinchinian listened nearby and spoke with some regret. I should have brought the car. I didn't know you'd buy this much. There's a lot you don't know. Shinchinian fell silent for a moment, seeing me buy more and more. He couldn't help but speak up. The kids at the orphanage can't eat or use this much. Those first 2 baskets of food and supplies, as New Year's gifts, are more than enough. But this whole cart, piled high with stuff, it looks like you're hoarding for a famine. Frugality is a virtue promoted in these times. I knew Shinchinian was worried about waste. It's fine. If they can't eat it all, they can give it away. What they can't use up can be saved for next year. I said these words lightly and casually. Shinchinian was left speechless again. He wanted to criticize and lecture me, but couldn't bring himself to say it. If he said nothing, he felt Song Zi's current behavior was becoming more and more radical. And where did she get all this money? I paid no mind to Shinchinian's thoughts. I was on a shopping spree and got completely hooked. Actually, at first, I just wanted to buy some holiday gifts, but after hiring the donkey cart, I changed my mind. What's that saying? Since we're already here. In the past, I wanted to buy more things. For the orphanage, for the children and Director Wu. But I was too timid. In such a small place, if any child had an extra popsicle, word would spread throughout the entire village, let alone using Shinchinian's money to buy New Year gifts for others, even though what I gave was essentially to my own family. It looked bad for the Shin family and Shinchinian, and the director wouldn't accept it anyway. In my past life, Shinchinian never mistreated me materially, but when I spent his money, I never truly did as I pleased. Today at the market, I experienced a kind of joy from freely spending money. This joy reminded me of my first job, and the first time I received my paycheck. That happiness didn't depend on how much money there was, but on the fact that it was completely my own. After spending the last bill in my hand, I told the donkey cart driver we could hit the road. Giddy up. The young driver cheerfully turned the cart around and headed for the neighboring county. Shinchinian stayed by my side, acting invisible all afternoon, and never gave up on following me. It was the first time I realized that Shinchinian also had such a stubborn side. When we reached the end of the market, Shinchinian suddenly stopped and asked me to wait for him. They came together. Shinchinian made this request, and he was so sincere about it. So I stopped. I also wanted to see what other tricks Shinchinian had up his sleeve. I sat down at a tea stall, ordered a cup of tea to rest. Not long after, Shinchinian squeezed his way over to me. He was holding a paper bag. This is for you. See if you like it. I opened the paper bag. Inside was a bright red scarf. Shinchinian seemed certain I would like this gift. I held the scarf and let out a light laugh, but not out of happiness. I bought a red scarf myself last year. You should keep this one and give it to someone else. Comrade Shinchinian, stop wasting your efforts on me. I don't like you anymore. I handed the scarf back to Shinchinian. Shinchinian was very confused. He grabbed my hand to stop me from leaving. I don't understand why. This is all too sudden. I pulled my hand free. I looked him in the eye and answered seriously. I had a very long dream. In it, you and I were just a couple who appeared harmonious on the surface. But the one you truly loved was Lu Weining. You loved her for over 50 years, until his dying day. Hearing my words, Shinchinian was utterly shocked. How is that possible? That's absurd. But it was just a dream. How can you leave me because of a dream? I looked at Shinchinian's face, full of disbelief. I sighed inwardly. He really is a deep one. If I hadn't seen that photo he'd treasured for nearly half a century with my own eyes, faced with this Shinchinian, I wouldn't have believed it either. Now that I have broken free from emotional bonds and re-examined this marriage, re-examined this man, I just feel Shinchinian is nothing but a man who wants it all, but can't make up his mind. Thinking of this, I suddenly lost any desire to talk to Shinchinian. I have a lot to do. No time to chat with you here. If you're really bothered, I can keep my distance. From Comrade Lu Weiniang. Shen Qinyan's eyes burned with intensity. He promised solemnly. Even though I had severed all feelings for him, I had to admit, when he said this, his expression was too sincere. So sincere it made my heart skip a beat for no reason. But I quickly came to my senses. Men will say any sweet words to get what they want. I didn't give him a chance to keep pestering me. I stood up and said to him, Shen Qinyan, I hope we can part on good terms. Let's each live our lives in peace, without disturbing each other. Hearing me say, without disturbing each other, his heart tightened again. Seeing me get up to leave made him even more anxious. So, heedless of the public setting, he stood up and shouted, Comrade Song Ziyi, my feelings for you are genuine. Please give me another chance to pursue you. His shout made the noisy tea stall fall silent instantly. I was mortified. I quickened my pace to leave. I got my bicycle and pedaled away fast. But Shen Qinyan still followed close behind. It's fine. Once we're back at the research institute, he won't be able to bother me anymore. Just as I was thinking this, suddenly I heard a crack, a strange sound, and I felt an unusual resistance under my feet. Oh no, the bike chain might have snapped. I looked down, lifted my foot to use the momentum, coasted a short distance, and prepared to stop for repairs. Right at that moment, a blinding beam of light hit me, accompanied by a screeching sound of brakes. In an instant, I felt myself become weightless and fly up into the air. The scene before my eyes was like a long, silent shot, playing out frame by frame. Shen Qinyan ran over as if he'd gone mad. Ziyi, I flew into the air, then fell heavily into a haystack. Like a rag doll, Shen Qinyan hadn't slept for 3 days and 3 nights. The doctor said these were Song Ziyi's final 24 hours. Although she was rushed to the hospital in time, she had hit the back of her head. If she doesn't wake up today, she could very likely become a vegetable. Shen Qinyan was filled with regret. If he hadn't been chasing her so closely, Song Ziyi wouldn't have ridden so fast. If he had been riding in front, the one injured wouldn't have been Song Ziyi. If, or even if he just hadn't lent the bike out, Song Ziyi wouldn't have been injured. It was just that coincidental. The one who hit Song Ziyi was his own driver. Shen's mother, carrying a lunchbox, when she arrived, saw her son, looking utterly lost, sitting by Song Ziyi's bedside. Qinyan, she wanted to console him, but found she had nothing to say. Mother and son fell silent together. Groggy, I woke from my deep sleep. Hazily, I heard voices talking. Ms. Lu, thank you for visiting. Ziyi hasn't woken up yet. You don't need to come every day. I'm just worried about her. The conversation between a man and a woman, through the wooden hospital door, drifted faintly into my ears. My head was buzzing, and my body ached terribly. I slowly remembered being hit by a car on the way back. Judging by the current situation, I must be in the hospital. I wanted to get out of bed, but found both my feet were in casts, and I couldn't move. My hands also seemed unresponsive, with many 4 needles stuck in them. The only thing I seemed able to move was my eyeballs. My heart sank. Had I been paralyzed? From the neck down, the conversation outside the door continued. I'll just leave the flowers and go. No need. I'll take care of it. You can go. I could tell Shen Qinyan was actually trying to get rid of her. Lu Weiniang's voice grew even more mournful and delicate. Qinyan, have I done something wrong? Why have you been so cold to me these past few days? No, it's just that I think we should stop seeing each other from now on, to avoid any misunderstandings. Shen Qinyan's voice was flat. The flowers in Lu Weiniang's hands fell to the ground. She took half a step back, looking at the man before her, in disbelief. Yet Shen Qinyan seemed like a monk who had suddenly attained enlightenment, unmoved by external things. I'm married now. If we continue like before, Ziyi will misunderstand. From now on, I'll keep my distance from you. I hope you understand. In the end, Lu Weiniang covered her mouth and ran off. Shen Qinyan pushed the door open, and saw me with my eyes open, asking with a pained expression, am I disabled? Tears welled up in Shen Qinyan's eyes. In an instant, they began to flow. When I saw this, I panicked even more. The next second, Shen Qinyan leaned down, coming close to me. His voice choked up. No, you're okay. You're finally awake. When the doctor arrived, I learned about my condition. Multiple fractures all over my body. My head hit a rock, causing an intracranial hematoma, a ruptured spleen. After resuscitation, I fell into a coma. I almost became a vegetable. Luckily, you woke up in time. The biggest hurdle is over. Get plenty of rest. Don't overexert yourself. I had no choice. I had to take a leave from school and recover in the hospital. Shen Qinyan also took time off, coming to take care of me every day. I didn't want to trouble him. I tried to refuse, but Shen Qinyan said, I'm partly responsible for this. At least give me a chance to make it right. It was my driver who hit you. He was driving my car. I shook my head. It's not your fault. I was just unlucky. Shen Qinyan lowered his head and sighed. If you're worried that I'll keep bothering you, don't be. Once you're better, I won't disturb your life anymore. I don't know how he came to this conclusion, but since he had, I couldn't be bothered to care, including when I woke up. How Shen Qinyan clearly rejected Lu Weiniang. I actually knew all about it, but I didn't bring it up. Because I stopped caring about this man long ago, who he loves in the future, who he ends up with. I don't care, I won't ask. And so the days passed, flat and uneventful. Half a year later, I was discharged from the hospital, but I didn't go back to the hospital compound. Instead, I transferred to a rehabilitation center. Shinchinian, thank you for taking care of me all this time. At the rehab center, I can manage on my own. I won't hold you back anymore. The rehab center is quite nice. I've hired a dedicated caregiver to look after me. This time, Shinchinian didn't insist. He only made one last request. Let me drive you there. Alright. Over mountains, over rivers. The journey was filled with lush green hills and clear waters. Scenery like a painting. Shinchinian drove skillfully. Even though the road was a bit bumpy, he tried his best to keep it smooth. For the first time in my life, I sat in Shinchinian's passenger seat, but my heart was utterly calm. Suddenly, I understood something, a truth. When something is within easy reach, perhaps you lose your passion for it. It's the same with people and situations. Shinchinian saw me staying silent, so he reached over and opened the glove compartment. We still have a dozen or so hours to go. You can play some music. Hearing that, I randomly picked out a cassette tape, pushed it into the car stereo, and hit play. A winding stream, green hillsides, nestled by a small village. A melodious song began to play. In the quiet car, the atmosphere instantly softened. In my dreams, I return again to my unforgettable hometown. That winding stream, the waves of floral scent, fill me with longing. They are unforgettable. Teresa Teng's sweet and deeply sentimental recitation lingered in both our ears. My mood improved quite a bit. As one tape was about to finish, I noticed there were others in the compartment, so I went to pick another one. But my hands suddenly brushed against a small metal box. I just took it out casually, but the more I looked at it, the more familiar this tin box seemed. Isn't this the little tin box Shinchinian used to hide photos in back in the day? Shinchinian turned his head. When he saw it, his gaze sharpened. He frowned. He slammed on the brakes. I asked him on purpose, "What are you so nervous about? Something secret in the box?" I shoved the tin box back into the drawer. Then I flipped the cassette tape over and let the music keep playing. I won't look. Relax. Shinchinian kept one hand on the wheel, then took the little tin box and examined it closely. This isn't mine. Maybe Lu Weiniang left it here, but I couldn't help pressing further. But what? Shinchinian took the box in his hand. He rubbed it for a moment. This is Xiaoqing's keepsake, and his and Lu Weiniang's love token. As he spoke, Shinchinian opened the box. Inside, unmistakably, was a photo of Lu Weiniang and Shinchinian, a photo of the two of them, their love token, and it has a photo of you two inside. Shinchinian was speechless and completely baffled. This was from last time, for the propaganda photos for the cultural troupe. I went along to take a set of photos. How could one of them end up here? I pursed my lips. Turn it over. Maybe your vows are on the back. Shinchinian turned the photo over. There was indeed a line of small writing on the back. My one true love, Lu Weiniang. I didn't write this. Shinchinian flatly denied it. I didn't say anything more. I closed my eyes gently. Let's get going, or we won't make it before dark. The wheels spun rapidly. For the entire journey to our destination, I didn't speak another word to Shinchinian. Before I left, Shinchinian said to me, "I will definitely get to the bottom of this. I'll give you an explanation." I only replied with one sentence. "It doesn't matter." Then I signaled for the caregiver to wheel me into the rehab center. In the second month of rehab, Huang Guifan came all the way from the capital to see me. As soon as we met, Huang Guifan gave me a big hug. "Finally, I get to see you in person. I've been so worried. It's been over half a year." I missed Huang Guifan too. "I'm lucky to be alive. See, I'm doing just fine. The doctor says in a few more months, I can go back to school. As long as I avoid strenuous exercise, I'll be okay." Huang Guifan also remarked, "You'll get to go to school with Su Yuanchao. After this leave of absence, you'll have to drop down a grade. Speaking of which, he's really smitten with you. When he heard about your accident, he wrote to the counselor, asking for leave to take care of you." I was a bit surprised. During the new year, Su Yuanchao did visit me every day. Even though Shinchinian gave him the cold shoulder, he kept coming anyway. Right before school started, I urged him not to neglect his studies. Once I recovered, I'd return to school too. You know, I'm not interested in romance. Huang Guifan opened a can of peaches. She got some chopsticks and handed them to me. I know. Our comrade Song Ziyi has a heart that belongs to the motherland and the people. But you need to eat to stay strong. Good health is the foundation of everything. Try some of the peaches my mom made. They're delicious. I know where Huang Guifan is from. Kids eat this when they're sick. I've never had it, but just looking at that tempting color was already mouth-watering. In the end, the two of us happily polished off a pound of bright yellow, canned yellow peaches. We still wanted more. I wiped my mouth, and my eyes wandered back to the remaining cans. Huang Guifan sorted the food she brought into different categories and put it in the bedside cabinet. "It's not good to eat too much at once. You can have more tomorrow." The next day, I was leaning on a crutch, accompanied by Huang Guifan, taking a walk in the back garden. A familiar voice called out from behind me, I turned around. Director Wu had just suddenly appeared right in front of me. Her face and smile were from when she was 40, in her middle age. My tears just started flowing. Mom Wu, I called out to her, just like when I was little. Mom Wu. Director Wu's eyes immediately reddened too. She hugged me, patting my back, muttering over and over, my good child. After we calmed down a bit, I led Director Wu and Huang Guifan to sit in the pavilion. The autumn wind swept fallen leaves, but the rehab center's garden showed no signs of desolation because many plants were grown here that stay green all year round. Mom Wu, look how lovely the flowers and plants are here. Director Wu looked me over. She noticed that although my movements were a bit difficult, my spirits were quite good. She felt a bit relieved, but still couldn't help saying, this habit of yours, only sharing the good news and hiding the bad, when will you ever change it? If I hadn't run into Leader Shen on the way, I still wouldn't know. Something this big happened to you. I felt a bit embarrassed and lowered my head. I thought to myself, no wonder Dean Wu showed up all of a sudden. I clearly made a call every month to check in and kept it well hidden. Turns out it was him who let it slip. So about Shinchinian and me breaking up, Dean Wu must already know. Sure enough, Dean Wu's next topic was about Shinchinian and me getting married, and you and Shen were perfectly fine. Why did you break up? Did he do something to wrong you? I quickly shook my head. No, we just weren't getting along well, so I was the one who ended it. Dean Wu still didn't quite believe it. I remember you used to really like Shen. Last year when I saw you, you were still head over heels. It really wasn't because he did something to wrong you that changed your mind. If I told the truth, given Dean Wu's temper, he'd go straight to the higher-ups. But when it comes down to it, matters of the heart are the hardest to explain. All these rumors, without any proof, are mostly from a past life anyway. I just want to be myself and not make a big deal out of this. So I told Dean Wu very firmly, I want to study in the capital and serve our country. I don't want to spend my life stuck in the kitchen, or to always be the one giving without receiving. Hearing me say that, Dean Wu finally stopped. Just, from now on, if anything happens, you have to tell me right away. No more hiding things like this. Yes. I nodded eagerly. Then I introduced Huang Guifan to Dean Wu. Dean Wu took Huang Guifan's hand and nodded repeatedly. What a fine young lady. You are all pillars of our nation. Back in the room, Dean Wu took from his cloth bag a stack of money and a basket of handmade items and gave them to me. During the new year, you sent so many things. It was just too much. The kids heard you were sick, and they all wanted to visit you. I couldn't bring everyone, so I had them make gifts and write letters for you. This money is what they saved up from making paper boxes, plus some of my allowance. I accepted the gifts and letters, but I refused the money. I can't take this. But Director Wu insisted. That song Zi accept it. It's not much, just a token of our feelings. I had no choice but to keep the money. I secretly made a vow in my heart to repay Mother Wu in the future, to repay the orphanage. Another year was coming to an end. I had fully recovered. Dragging my luggage, I walked out of the rehab center. I took a deep breath and slowly let it out. This past year of training felt like a rebirth. Even the doctors were amazed by my perseverance. Comrade Zi, in all my years of practice, I've never met a more tenacious patient. Your recovery speed is remarkable. I smiled shyly. I just followed the training plan you prescribed. Doctor, it's your skill that's truly great. On New Year's Eve, I called Mr. Zhang in the city. I probably won't be back until after the Lantern Festival. On the other end, Mr. Zhang's voice choked up a bit. No rush. Come back once you're fully rested. The school has already been notified. Even if you need another year off, it's fine. Just focus on getting better. Don't worry. I'm perfectly healthy now. After hanging up, I completed my discharge. The orphanage's car was already waiting for me at the entrance. When they saw me come out, Director Wu, along with 2 older kids, hurried over to take my luggage. Wei Hua, Li Juan, you've both grown so tall. Seeing them, my already bright mood soared even higher. Sis, Li Juan called out sweetly, while Wei Hua grinned goofily and flashed me a smile. My heart ached again. Little Li Juan, like her, was abandoned at the orphanage gate. Wei Hua, on the other hand, was picked up by Director Wu from a garbage dump. After he was rescued, they discovered that he was born mute. I sat in the back with little Li Juan. Director Wu took the passenger seat, but it was Wei Hua who was driving. I was a bit surprised. Wei Hua had gotten his driver's license and could drive. Director Wu said with a smile. Leader Shen has always taken good care of the children at the orphanage, visiting them frequently. Last year, he even recommended Wei Hua to join the Shanlin Shiju motor pool. I gave a thumbs up. Wei Hua is so smart. He got his driver's license in just 1 year. Director Wu went on to talk about Shinchinian and all the things he had done for the orphanage and the children over the past year. Between the lines, she seemed quite satisfied with him. First, clothing and food for all 4 seasons were distributed without any shortage. They were all provided. Second, the children's living conditions were greatly improved. The drafty windows and roofs and the adobe houses with earthen walls were all repaired. Then, there were the issues of schooling for the younger children, and job placements for the older ones. I heard he's been promoted to a leadership position, yet such a high-ranking official still personally attends to these matters. He's really thoughtful. I listened and nodded along. Yeah, he's really thoughtful. My thoughts drifted away. I recalled that near the end of the year, when the new year was approaching, Shinchinian actually had called. The new year is almost here. My mom said she wants you to come home for the new year. Last New Year's Eve, you spent it in the hospital. This year, you see, I didn't even think before refusing. No, I haven't been back to the orphanage in a long time. I plan to go this year, to spend time with Director Wu and the kids. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. After a while, Shinchinian finally said, that's fine too. Take good care of yourself then. Call me directly if anything comes up, or send me a telegram. Okay, the call ended. I thought to myself, of course I'll take care of myself, but what I didn't expect was, in this lifetime, because I refused, Shinchinian actually started to show unusual concern for me, and along with that, he started paying attention to the orphanage too. At this time in my past life, the orphanage was actually operating with great difficulty. Forget about sending the kids to school, or finding them jobs. Just providing basic food and shelter was a struggle to maintain. To say I wasn't moved would be impossible. I have a heart. Seeing the kids and Mother Wu praise Shinchinian so sincerely and genuinely, I knew he had actually done real work. But to say I was swayed by this, to accept his goodwill, that I couldn't do. Loving him was already a thing of the distant past. Fireworks bloomed. Firecrackers crackled. This New Year's Eve at the orphanage was livelier than in previous years. The kids had known early on that I was coming. They had prepared the food early and were waiting for me. Mother Wu and Big Sis, they're back. Big Sis. Big Sis. The children, like little birds, rushed into Director Wu's and my arms. I thought, this feeling of having a family is so good. The New Year's Eve dinner was lively and warm, and moved me to tears. That night, in the orphanage, laughter and chatter never ceased. Amidst one after another of dazzling fireworks, I sat at the desk. By the light of a kerosene lamp, I wrote in my diary, it turns out that between family, you don't need expensive gifts. Just coming home often is the best present. On the 4th day of the new year, I carried a basket of fruit and flowers to visit my old boss. After retiring, my old boss and his wife, Teacher Zhao, moved out of the staff compound. They now live in their old house in the village. This year, the village and the town got a bus route. Getting around is fairly convenient. Sitting in the bus, I rolled down the window and looked out. Nestled against green hills, beside clear waters, stretches of Lingnan style architecture rose and fell. Blue bricks, stone pillars, flagstones, and those beautiful patterns of flowers and birds on the outer walls. It was like an exquisite painting, unfolding slowly before my eyes. My feelings were a bit complicated. Scenery like this in the future would become increasingly rare. Chinko Town, Wangjia Village. From a distance, I saw at the village entrance that ancient, sprawling banyan tree. Who knows how old it is? Villagers gathered beneath it, chatting together. Children chased and played. It was a scene of perfect harmony. I thought to myself, when I retire, I'll go to a village and build a big blue brick house with tiled roofs, plant trees and flowers in the front yard, grow vegetables and raise fish in the back. On nice days, I'll sit in a rocking chair in the yard and bask in the sun. On bad weather days, I'll sit under the eaves and enjoy the flowers and rain. Once I entered the gate, I immediately spotted Shinchinian's car parked in the yard. But since we're already here, there's no reason to deliberately avoid it. I walked right in with confidence to pay my New Year's respects to my old leader. I should have come to see you much earlier, but I kept getting delayed. I'm really sorry. The old leader didn't mind at all. Instead, he asked with concern, I heard from Chinian that you were injured. How's your recovery going? I spun around in place a few times to show I was completely healed. The old leader chuckled happily, stroking his non-existent beard. Full of energy. Looks like you're all better. You came at just the right time. Teacher Zhao made your favorite chestnut steamed rice. I immediately smiled, my eyes crinkling. Then I'm really in for a treat. Is Teacher Wang in the kitchen? I'll go help. At this point, Shinchinian, who hadn't been able to get a word in, spoke up. I'll go help too. I shot a glance at Shinchinian, but out of respect for the old leader, I ultimately didn't object. The two of us entered the kitchen one after the other. When Teacher Zhao saw us, she handed each of us a bamboo basket. There's nothing here for you to help with. Go to the vegetable patch and pick some greens for me. Then go to the orchard and pick some dates. Shinchinian immediately agreed. Okay. Then he pulled me along as we left. Once outside, on the way to the vegetable patch, I belatedly shook off Shinchinian's hand. What's so good about it? I'll go to the vegetable patch. You go to the orchard. We'll gather separately. Shinchinian seemed a bit unreasonable at this point. Teacher Wang said to go together. She didn't say to split up. I was speechless. I simply turned and headed for the orchard myself. Shinchinian followed behind me, watching me with a suppressed smile. I looked up at the tall date tree, then looked at my empty hands. With just one bamboo basket, I said through gritted teeth, forget the dates. Let's pick strawberries. The strawberry field is farther away. let's just pick the dates. The old leader likes them. Shinchinian rejected my suggestion. He borrowed 2 umbrellas and a long bamboo pole from a villager. Then he started knocking the dates down. I crouched on the ground, discarding the bad ones, and putting the good ones in the bamboo basket. After finishing that, we gave some to the villager. No, I can't. These belong to the village. The villager tried to refuse, but Shinchinian said, now that the policy has changed, the land has been contracted out. Only a small portion needs to be given to the collective and the state. The rest belongs to the farmers themselves. It's fine. Take them. The villager still seemed a bit unsure. Holding the winter dates, he asked again, Sir, is this really true? Shinchinian confirmed it again, and explained the policy a bit more. Only then did the villager put the dates in his pocket. This policy is really good. When my son comes back, I'll have him go sign up with the team, and contract a piece of land too. This is the first time I've seen him explain official business up close. I was quite impressed. After saying goodbye to the villagers, I followed Shinchinian to the vegetable patch to pick some greens. We each carried a full basket of vegetables and dates on the way back. Shinchinian noticed my expression and started explaining. I used to just focus on training, but after you left for university, I did a lot of thinking. The senior leader said, it's the younger generation's world now. We can't just shout slogans all the time. We need to read more, broaden our horizons, to better serve the people. I didn't comment much. I just replied, the senior leader is right. After we returned, the atmosphere between us wasn't as awkward as before. The senior leader and teacher Zhao seemed quite pleased. Their gazes were as gentle and kind as ever. I didn't choose this moment to be stubborn and act distant with Shinchinian. It was just to make the elders happy. The meal was enjoyed by everyone. I even had a sense of timelessness, an illusion that Shinchinian and I had never actually parted, as if, like in our past life, we were visiting the senior leader with gifts for the holidays. In the warm, yellow light, everything was harmonious and joyful. Just before leaving, the senior leader called me over and handed me a note. It had a few names and phone numbers on it. These are some old comrades of mine in the capital. I've already spoken to them. If you run into any trouble, just go find them. Suddenly, the note in my hand felt incredibly heavy. Senior leader, aren't you going to ask about Shinchinian and me? The senior leader waved his hand. You're focused on your studies. I fully support that. As for you young people's affairs, you decide for yourselves. I won't pry. Although the senior leader said he wouldn't pry, when it was time to leave, teacher Wang still put me in Shinchinian's car. You two go together. Shinchinian, you're responsible for safely getting Zi to the train station. It's getting dark, and the road is long. I wouldn't feel at ease otherwise. And so, I came here alone, but I left with someone, and we were loaded down with bags of local specialties the senior leader and teacher Wang gave us. Along the way, Shinchinian barely said a word. I thought he knew that I wouldn't be very responsive to him, and would take the hint, but I didn't expect that after seeing her onto the train. Through the window, he suddenly brought up the matter of the photos. The metal box and photos found in the car that day weren't actually mine. The writing on the photos wasn't mine either. Lu Wenying admitted that it was something she accidentally left in the car. The writing was also her imitating my handwriting. I'm sorry, I didn't know about her feelings, and that it hurt you. After hearing his words, I looked down at this man I loved. For most of my previous life, my heart was completely calm. I was also surprised by my own reaction. I had fantasized countless times about Shinchinian discovering his own neglect, whether he would explain, whether he would regret it, but for who I am now, Shinchinian's explanations and regrets no longer matter. Still, I said to him, it's okay, I'm not hurt anymore. Shinchinian didn't seem to expect me to be so calm. His eyes held deep confusion. Stubbornly, he asked those classic 3 words. Why? I thought to myself, he probably wasn't asking why I wasn't hurt anymore. Rather, why, when he had already done so much and changed so much, was I still unwilling to get back together with him, not even giving him a single chance to pursue me? But how could I explain to him the cause and effect of past and present lives? In the end, I used a poem by a Hungarian patriotic poet to answer Shinchinian's question. Life is dear, love is dearer, both can be given up for freedom. Shinchinian's lips pressed into a thin line. His brows and eyes showed deep shock. The whistle on the platform sounded urgently. The green train chugged along. Shinchinian could only watch helplessly as Song Zi slowly moved away from him. The clatter of wheels against rail joints was monotonous and dull. Song Zi's final words still echoed in his ears. In the past, he was only focused on rushing forward. When he stopped to rest, Song Zi would be gently behind him. He thought this was all there was to her. But now he suddenly realized he and she seemed not to be from the same world. Her thinking had kept pace with the times, and was full of vitality. She was pursuing her new dreams, but he himself was still stuck in the old century, like an old newspaper, left behind in the depths of time. Shinchinian's thoughts. I would never know. All I knew was, the train started moving. This time, I completely bid farewell to the people and events of the past. a new school year, new tasks. The coursework I fell behind on due to illness was hard to catch up on. So I applied to the school to repeat the school year. This way, I would be in the same grade as Su Yuanchao. This made Su Yuanchao very happy. However, I didn't because of this become more enthusiastic towards him. I deliberately maintained a certain distance from him, not too distant, nor too close. One day after class, Huang Guifan brought some exciting news. Professor Zhang's research team was officially established. Anyone who wanted to participate could sign up. Professor Zhang was Ms. Zhang. Her classes had always been popular. Students actively signed up one after another. Some even went so far as to find Ms. Zhang's home, coming every day to curry favor. Ms. Zhang was utterly annoyed and asked me to tell everyone. On November 20th, in room 201 of Building 4, take a written exam together. Fair competition. Those with top scores would proceed to an interview. With that, everyone gave up on pulling strings and turned to studying instead. Privately, Ms. Zhang reminded Su Yuanchao and me, I have high hopes for both of you. Go back and study hard. Don't let me down. Both of us patted our chests and promised not to disappoint our mentor. Ms. Zhang turned and went to her study, giving us 2 large crates of books, telling us to study them carefully. On the way back, our bicycles were loaded with thick stacks of books. Su Yuanchao seemed hesitant. Is it right for us to do this? Is this really fair? I shook my head and said, these are all books the teacher had long ago published a list of. She was just afraid we couldn't find them all. We only have a month, so let's focus on studying. Our competitors are the entire student body. During those days of intense study, I had almost forgotten about Shinchinian. But on this day, the newspaper reported some news that shocked me. Near the Lingnan campus, a firecracker factory exploded. The team was organizing to rescue civilians. When the factory had a second explosion, my subordinates were badly injured. The incident is still under investigation. I called my old superior and eventually got through to the hospital to ask about the situation. Ms. Shin picked up the phone. He's out of critical condition now. His injuries have stabilized, but there might be some after effects from the concussion. I racked my brains, but I don't remember such a major event from my past life. I only recall a huge firecracker factory explosion years ago. But by the time I came here, it had already happened. And over in Lingnan, they had already done safety checks years ago. How could something like this suddenly happen? Naturally, Ms. Shin didn't understand either. I didn't press further. Instead, I started worrying about Shinchinian. The exam is in 3 days. I can't make it there in time. I asked Ms. Shin to send my regards, and said after the exam, I'd take leave to visit Shinchinian. Not long after, Ms. Shin called back. Chinian asked me to tell you not to come see him. Just focus on your research with peace of mind. He's doing fine now. No need for you to make a special trip. After hanging up, my feelings were complicated. Shinchinian is a man who's always been strong-willed. Who knows if him saying he's fine is actually true. But if I'm honest with myself, if it were me from my past life, who got seriously injured, I wouldn't want Shinchinian to see me in a weak and pathetic state either. I can't quite explain where this pang of heartache is coming from right now, but I thought it's better to respect Shinchinian's wishes. After all, we've already parted ways. He has his own life, and I have my own dreams. During this exam prep period, I also received a completely unexpected phone call. Thank you, Ziyi. If you hadn't warned me, I'd have been in big trouble. I apologize for the hostility I showed you before. I won't interfere with you and Shinchinian anymore. He's already made things clear to me. The person calling was Lu Weining. I never thought I'd live to hear Lu Weining apologize. All that a long time ago. I gave Lu Weining some reminders about what to watch out for, then hung up. Professor Zhang's research team ended up selecting 5 undergrads and 2 grad students to join. Su Yuanchao and I were among them. I originally thought it would just be setting up a lab at the university and doing some research, but I never expected that when the next school year started, I'd be ushered onto a helicopter. Only when we reached our destination did I realize this project was highly classified, and the people selected not only had to be academically brilliant, their loyalty was also vetted layer by layer. The research work from the previous school year was just a screening process. When I saw Shinchinian standing perfectly fine, holding a asterisk in front of me, I even started to think his injury might have been part of the test. Their eyes met across the room, but neither of them made any further gesture. After entering the research institute, Shinchinian and I didn't cross paths much. After all, he was in charge of security, and I was in charge of research. One was outside, the other inside. I just occasionally marveled at Shinchinian's persistence. It ran pretty deep, chasing after me all the way into this vast desert, but I didn't dwell on it too much. Instead, I immersed myself in the research project, the endless Gobi, a lifeless no man's land. It should have been lonely, monotonous, but I found the days here were fulfilling, even happy. Shinchinian also seemed to have found a way to coexist with me. He wouldn't get too close, but he wouldn't stay too far either. The time came again for the shift change. Suddenly asked Shinchinian, you and that female researcher, there's really nothing going on? Shinchinian shook his head. No. His comrade wasn't convinced. He pressed further. So you do like her? Shinchinian didn't even lift an eyelid. You've forgotten the rules. But his comrades said, rules are rules. Feelings are feelings. But I gotta say, you've got some pretty strong competition. That male researcher and her seem like a good match too. Joining this research project didn't mean you couldn't date. It didn't mean you couldn't get married either. Many people arrived over time. Researchers' family members were also brought over. They didn't live at the institute, but a new residential area was designated. Some found their partners here, started families and careers, had children. Some left midway, changing to other professions. But I have always remained single, focusing wholeheartedly on research. 1 year, 5 years, 10 years passed like a single day. On New Year's Eve that year, the Research Institute lit up with brilliant fireworks. Besides celebrating the new year, they also celebrated their research, finally achieving glorious results. Mr. Zhang was in tears. He said emotionally, "Comrades, you've all worked hard." The enthusiastic applause grew louder and louder. I was also quite moved. This is the new life I wanted. I have truly achieved a new life ideal. Now when people meet me, they call her Researcher Song, Professor Song, and not Mrs. Shen, Tiger's mom. My life resume is not graduation, marriage, raising children, caring for grandchildren. The night we parted, Su Yuanchao asked me, "Ziyi, what are your plans for the future? Returning to the capital or going to Lingnan?" I told Su Yuanchao, "Continue with the research group, of course." Su Yuanchao was somewhat puzzled. "But, don't you really want to consider matters of the heart?" I smiled. "After all these years, haven't you seen it clearly yet? Don't just keep staring at me. You should also look back. Perhaps there's someone more deserving of your care waiting for you. Life doesn't really have many decades." In the 3rd year, Su Yuanchao and I joined the project. Huang Guifan also came in. Sometimes I would ask Huang Guifan if she felt I had influenced her pursuit of true love. Huang Guifan said no. Loving him is my business. Whether he loves me or not doesn't matter. If one day I get tired of loving, I'll just let him go. Huang Guifan's view on love was somewhat surprising to me. It was indeed quite progressive. After the research project ended, we once again changed our identities and names, and went our separate ways. Another 5 years later, I joined a new research team. The one who sent me to the institute was still Shinchinian. But this time when we said goodbye, Shinchinian didn't ask me why. Instead, he said with a big smile, "When you achieve your results, I'll set off fireworks to celebrate for you." Okay, the last time I saw Shinchinian was at the wedding of Huang Guifan and Su Yuanchao. Not many people came, just some of Huang Guifan and Su Yuanchao's old friends, classmates, and teachers. I was a bit surprised that Shinchinian had also received an invitation. I teased him, "Are you here as a friend of the groom or the bride?" Shinchinian replied with a laugh, "That's none of your business." I really didn't bother him after that. I just ate and drank, and after the wedding, I was ready to leave. But Shinchinian stopped me, saying he had something important to tell me. In the 10 years at the institute, he never said anything. Later, when he sent me off to the second research project, he still didn't say anything. But now that Su Yuanchao and Huang Guifan are getting married, he says he has something important to say. I thought to myself, is he having some kind of breakdown? We found a quiet spot, and Shinchinian took that jar of wishing stars out of his bag. "Remember this?" "I remember." "You still have it, everything of yours." "I've kept it all." At this point in the conversation, things started to feel a bit ambiguous. "Did you find me just to say this?" Shinchinian shook his head, saying, "I wanted to tell you that after I was injured in that firecracker factory explosion, I also had the same dream you did. In the dream, I saw a life completely different from this one." "I'm sorry, Ziyi." Hearing that apology, I suddenly felt a tightly wound string in my heart loosen. Emichum. I let out a soft emichum. In this life, he didn't wrong himself, but in the last life, he really did owe me an apology. Shinchinian continued, "That year you asked me if I had a wish. Later, I did. My wish is for all your wishes to come true." Much later, Shinchinian rose to become a high-ranking official. He never married, but adopted a son, and named him Huzi. And I never married, devoting myself to scientific research for my entire life. Many people asked me, "Do you have any regrets about the path your life took?" After all, as a woman, not marrying and having children seems incomplete. In my memoirs, I wrote, "Actually, no matter what choices you make, life will always have regrets, but a life spent fighting for your ideals leaves no room for regret."